I think the Indonesian Cube manages to be both Liam's darkest and funniest project at the same time, on this channel at least.
Remember that video? The one where I rambled about Liam Vickers Animation, a YouTube channel made by Guess Who dedicated to guess what? Well, what I'm referencing in that clip is that Liam actually had a channel before LVA, one that was discontinued about 2 years ago. That channel was Scary Storytime with Liam, a channel dedicated to creepypastas written and narrated by the man himself, plus a few original songs here and there. Now, while I do enjoy listening to those creepypastas, they aren't the reason why I'm making this video. That would be these bad boys: Design, Yellow Halogen, PuppetGAME, and Black Dogs. 4 original series, adding up to 56 videos and about 32 hours of content. I've got to justify wasting that much time somehow, so I'm going to waste some of your time running down the list in chronological order, explaining what I like and don't like about each before ranking all 4 from favorite to least favorite. So anyways, what's up my guys and gals, it's your boy Tyromaniac, back in a Smoking Out video, and today, I'm here to talk about Scary Storytime with Liam. Just a few quick things. First of all, there are some light spoilers in this video. Nothing too important, just a few minor details so that my plot summaries make a bit more sense. Second, most of the content on the SSTWL channel is Liam's voice playing over a still image, so if you see Left 4 Dead in the background, that's why. Anyways, on with the video. Spread out across 3 seasons, Design tells the story of left hands, parasites that infect human girls before killing them at the age of 13 and taking control of their corpses, giving the hosts powerful telekinetic abilities in the process. Our main protagonist is John Matthews, a normal human teenager just trying to survive after being thrown headfirst into a world of left hands and government shadow organizations, both of which are usually trying to kill him. Anyways, my favorite thing about Design is that I've always loved the idea of ordinary people getting turned into living weapons, and I think that the left hands are probably the coolest way of doing it. They're sadistic killing machines with godlike abilities, but they're also human enough to have powerful character-driven scenes. Speaking of which, the characters were a bit uneven in quality, but still mostly good. My favorite was Subject 748, aka Mari, a left hand who couldn't talk and had to carry a clipboard around to communicate. Also, she called herself God a lot. Anyways, the writing wasn't always perfect either, some scenes kinda dragged on a bit, but there were also moments that had me either on the verge of tears or slack-jawed in awe. My only real quote-unquote complaint is that Liam had a bunch of voice actors for the 2nd and 3rd seasons, and I honestly wasn't a huge fan, mostly because their mic qualities were all over the place. Unfortunately, Design got dropped halfway through the 3rd season, and the channel was discontinued before we got an actual ending. At least the next series in the list got one, technically. Yellow Halogen centers around a regular human teenager named John Matthews, and his younger sister Lily, as he tries to track down a serial killer whose victims are hitting a little too close to home. Oh, and there's something about sirens and a plot to save the town somewhere in there too, I don't know. Anyways, what's weird about Yellow Halogen is that it's hard to pinpoint any one reason in particular why I like it. The writing did its job in terms of both the emotions and the horror, the story was pretty good, albeit a little hard to understand at times, and the siren made for a pretty cool monster, even if some things about them didn't make a ton of sense. I also liked the mystery that was set up, even if pretty much everything was revealed before the actual ending, and... oh wait, the ending! I won't spoil anything, so all I'm gonna say is that it makes you second guess pretty much every thought you could possibly have before the big reveal, and a few, sus things happen along the way. Anyways, I guess that's pretty much everything I had to say. The next series, though, oh boy. Stick with me here, this one gets a bit convoluted. PuppetGAME is about an interdimensional survival game being run by a sentient hand puppet named Ponder, who has powerful telekinetic abilities that can reach across dimensions. Our protagonist, supposedly average human teenager John Matthews, becomes a contestant in an attempt to save his friends, only to realize that if he loses, aka dies, his home dimension gets nuked out of existence. The same thing also happens if the viewers, as in the real world people listening to the story, vote him off between episodes. And he still dies. This self-awareness is one of my big reasons for liking PuppetGAME, and there are plenty of other examples. But it's not the biggest. That would be because of the characters, most of which are ripped straight out of Liam's other creepypastas, meaning we get to see a lot more of their personalities than we do in their original stories. To name a few of my favorites, you've got Door Guy, the supernatural prankster, Malay Lau, the cyberspace poltergeist, and Callie, weapon of mass destruction. I even ended up liking Ponder, between his impeccable showmanship, his questionable sanity, and his rampant sadism. Aside from that, the story was pretty cool with how it dragged so many different characters together and threw in some pretty cool plot twists. It was also pretty funny sometimes, and, just like Design, it got dropped halfway through and SSTWL was discontinued before it could get an ending. You know, thinking about it, this last series might actually be the only one to have a complete ending. Last up, Black Dogs is about a bellhop named John Matthews, at an old family manor, and Hayes Borden, the daughter of Nebraska's governor. Our protagonists are stuck in a one-day time loop under the influence of an unknown threat that is definitely not a good boy. One thing to note is that Black Dogs was my first exposure to SSTWL, and I have to admit that it had me pretty thoroughly hooked. After watching all of the content on Liam Vickers' animation, Black Dogs was the first that made me feel serious emotion aside from just shock. Some scenes had me on the verge of crying, others had me looking over my shoulders out of fear. Either way, it got me so invested that not only did I watch all 7 hours in one night, but I also caught myself mentally trying to yell at John through the screen. There wasn't a whole lot of humor, the characters were fine, and the story and mystery were good, but the writing was what carried the whole thing on its back for me. Sure, Liam's other stories did most of the same things that Black Dogs did, sometimes doing it better, but I've got to give it points for being first. Anyways, would you look at the time? It's about time to... Not gonna lie, this one was a lot tougher than Liam Vickers' animation. This first one was the easiest though, so floating into 4th place we have Yellow Halogen. While I can't really think of anything bad to say about it, it's also kinda hard to say anything great about it. It was just a cool little monster mystery story with some good moments and a great ending. Anyways, looping into 3rd place we have Black Dogs. The writing was great, and I still think it was probably the scariest, but it just wasn't enough to push it above the other two. Speaking of which, the lucky contestant to reach the number 2 spot is PuppetGAME. Great characters led to great moments, with the added bonus of good writing and a pretty cool meta story. That said, it still couldn't compete with the series destined for 1st place, so give it up for Design. Whether it was at its worst or its best, it always had good characters, a great story, and mostly great writing. And don't even get me started on the anime filler episode. Well, there it is, my ranking of the 4 series on Scary Story Time with Liam. I will say I didn't expect to enjoy hearing a story told over a still image as much as I did, but here we are. So anyways, that's it for this video, so remember to light up that like button, smoke that subscribe button, drop a big old comment, check out some of the videos to the left, and I will see you guys in the next video.